Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're good, hope you are well. The makeup is off, the skincare is done. So how about we chill for the evening and chat? I'm gonna grab a drink and I'll meet you on the sofa. Let's go. What's been your hardest lesson in 2023 so far? I feel like God has this really funny way of giving me revelation. I'll get revelation, something will be revealed to me and I'll be like, wow. Eye-opening, amazing. Now that I'm aware, now that I know about this thing, I can work at resolving it. And I feel like it's resolved. And then months will pass, years maybe will pass, and then I'll have a new revelation on top of that revelation. So like a revelation part B, and it will be like God saying, oh, you thought this thing was resolved? No, that was just the tip of the iceberg. And now we've got some real work to do. And that is literally been the story of this year. And I think one of the biggest sort of re-revelations that I've had is that I need to get comfortable with discomfort. And something I learned about myself, again, relearn about myself. So this year I started CrossFit, for those of you who follow me on my weekend recap. And CrossFit is hard. It's hard. And I don't know if it's like a brain psychology thing or like a self-preservation survival thing. But when something's hard, my automatic default response is to try and make it easier. This can be good. It means I can be efficient. It means I can find easier ways of doing something and work smarter and not harder. But going back to the example of CrossFit, when I'm doing a workout and it's really, really hard, my default response, without even thinking about it, is to make it easier. And sometimes that means my form will drop, or I'll slow down, or I'll just stop. Whereas actually the right response in that situation is to just push through, is to feel the pain and push through. And I have to almost override my default response, which is to slow down, to stop, to lose my form, and instead be like, no, Adella, yes, it hurts. Yes, it's hard, but you're not supposed to stop. You're supposed to keep going when it's hard. And so I think this applies to like hardships in my marriage. This applies to my work life. This applies to my relationships, my mental health, everything. When things get hard, I need to get comfortable. I need to be like, yeah, okay, it's hard, cool. You need to push through. It almost makes things easier in a sense, because rather than being scared of hardship, I'm just like, okay, come, let's do this. But I say it's the hardest lesson because as I continue to embrace it, it's hardship, it's difficulty. And it's not even to glamorize it. It's just to understand that like the growth happens on the other side of that hardship. Just like when I go to the gym and you do a hard workout, on the other side of that is the growth. What's been at the top of your mind as of late? So it kind of links to the first question. It came off the back of a conversation I had with my friend, the idea of creating the life that I want. And I've heard that phrase so many times. People talk about it, create the life you want, create the life you want. But for some reason, it's only kind of just hit home for me that I need to be the one to create the life that I want. As ambitious and whatever as I am, I've realized that I can sometimes be quite reactive rather than proactive. And so I can react to, situations that are happening to me. I can react to how people are treating me. I can just react to the vibe of life and act accordingly. But in order to create the life that I want, I need to be proactive. And it kind of leans into the first point and also another point, which is that I need to become comfortable with being inconvenienced. And I'm actually going to do a video on that because I feel like as a sort of society, as a generation, we don't like being inconvenienced, but a lot of things require inconvenience. Love is inconvenient. And so recently I've been thinking about, okay, in order for me to get the life that I want, I can't be reactive, I can't be passive, I have to be very proactive. And it means pushing past the desire to maybe react to how life is treating me or what's happening in my life, and actually be like, okay, fine, if something is not the way you want it to be right now, stop moaning about it and actually do something about it. How do you find your personal style? Where and who do you get your fashion inspo from? I love this question because this year there was a big shift in my personal style, or the way I approach my personal style. For so long I struggled to kind of like pinpoint what my style was, because I felt like there wasn't just one, and it was ever changing and really fluid. And then on TikTok, my friend and I discovered this whole trend of developing style themes, and to me, it was like a light bulb moment, because that made so much sense. Because rather than deciding on one like aesthetic or core, it made more sense to identify my style as themes and to be able to split them up into different ones. I actually filmed a video about this ages ago. I just haven't got around to editing it, and I will put it on my TikTok, so I won't go into too much detail. But essentially, I came up with 4 style themes. The first and the most prominent one being called Cool Auntie from New York. And it's essentially what it sounds like. It's a cool auntie from New York. I'll see if I can put up some examples. That's kind of the one that I lean into the most, and outlining that theme, building Pinterest boards around that theme has really made dressing up much more fun. And another thing that really changed the way I dress this year is understanding my frame. So, you know, definitely wear whatever you want, but what I realized is the clothes I like but couldn't quite put my finger on were the ones that were suited to my frame. I'm tall, I'm 5'10", but I'm mostly leg. I have long legs and a short torso. And so all these years I've been wearing high-waisted, wondering, why am I looking a bit off? It's because my frame does not lend itself to high-waisted, because it's essentially boob and leg. And so ever since I figured that out, I've been wearing exclusively mid-rise, low-rise, and it's changed the game. Another example of this is that, relatively speaking, I've got quite broad shoulders. They're not broad, but they're broad relative to my hips. And so all these times I'm wearing skinny jeans, thinking something doesn't look right. And ever since I discovered that I need to create volume on the bottom half of my body, changed the game. So 2 things: developing style themes, understanding my frame, changed the game for me this year. What's your favorite part of being married? Okay, so this is gonna sound mad cheesy, but my favorite thing about being married is the peace and the security that comes from knowing that I married the right person. Marriage is hard, you know, everyone always says that we don't really give marriage good PR, but it is hard, just like everything else. So naturally, I go through stuff in my marriage. We go through it, okay? We go through it. And whenever we go through it, whenever I'm literally having a dramatic moment of, oh my gosh, the rest of my life, I can't do this, I stop and I think, okay, you're going through it right now, but any regrets? Do you regret marrying this man? And the answer, no matter what situation I'm in, the answer is always absolutely no regrets. I'm so grateful that I married a man with such a strong, good character. Of course, he's not perfect, but there's just a peace that comes from knowing I made the right decision. And unless his character changes, God willing, I'll be saying that for the rest of our lives. Another thing, a bit more light, I've recently kind of been really obsessive understanding couples and what sibling they are. I didn't realize this was such a big thing until I told my best friend, and she was just like, oh my gosh, I've been thinking about this ever since you said it. So for example, what's the dynamic between 2 firstborns or 2 lastborns, or a firstborn and a lastborn? I have theories for all of them, but I like my setup. I'm a lastborn and my husband is a firstborn. And so, as you can imagine, he's a firstborn and I'm a lastborn. When I say, I mean, stereotypically speaking, we are very much firstborn, lastborn. And so he really takes care of me. I'm basically spoiled. I am spoiled. Sometimes it makes us butt heads because he's doing firstborn things and I'm like, don't tell me what to do. But for the most part, yeah, I like it. I like that he looks after me. That's one of my favorite things about being married, I'll be honest. I got married 6 months ago. Any advice to give to a new wife? This is hard, man. It's hard. Marriage is hard. But the thing is, I feel like marriage gets really bad PR. We don't do a good job, married people, we don't do a good job of making marriage sound great, because all you ever hear us say is marriage is hard. Marriage requires sacrifice. Marriage is this, marriage is that. All true, but it's also amazing. And the thing is, marriage is hard, but so is everything else. Your job is hard. relationships in general are hard. Life is hard. And so this notion that marriage being hard is like abnormal, it's not, it's normal. And I think the only reason it kind of feels like maybe weightier than everything else is because unlike work, which maybe you do 9 to 5, unlike, you know, your friendships, which you might check in with your friends once a week, couple times a week, couple times a month, marriage is all consuming. You believe in marriage the way I do, which is the biblical perspective of marriage is literally two becoming one. And so now imagine two grown adults who have developed and been raised a certain way and like lived a certain life up until this point now have to come together and be one. Yeah. And the funny thing is we usually marry our opposites. We marry people who have traits and attributes that we don't possess, and probably for the best, but that can also cause a lot of like, whoa, this is different. So yes, marriage is hard, but everything is hard. And I think just like most hard things, or just like a lot of hard things, it's worth it. Everyone's marriage is different, and I've only been in it for 5 years, so I'm like, I ain't no expert. I think the biggest thing for me is community, having a community around you. I don't subscribe to the whole like we keep everything between us and we don't tell anyone our business. I be telling people, not everyone. I have select few people that I trust, and people who will be honest with me. But we definitely share our problems with our community, and I think that's made a big difference in our marriage. How would you approach dating in this day and age if you were single? I'll be honest, I probably would approach dating now exactly how I did back then. I probably would not change just because the world has changed. I was pretty young when I left the dating scene, but I honestly don't think I would subscribe to sort of the new rules that I'm seeing pop up. They essentially feel like they're just trying to avoid commitment. It seems like there's all these labels. I don't remember these labels being here back in the day. All these stages of like linking and then talking and then dating exclusively and then in a relationship. What's the difference between dating exclusively and being in a relationship? To me, it just sounds like it's a psychological trick to trick your mind into like not freaking out about your commitment. And I'll be honest, if you don't want to commit and you want to have some sort of psychological gap between dating exclusively and being my boyfriend, then it's okay. We can let's just leave it there. Let's just part ways. I also don't think I wouldn't multi-date. I know a lot of people are encouraged to date multiple people. Honestly, I wasn't saucy like that. I don't think I ever had like more than one person I was talking to at a time. And I just don't think I would want that. And if I was dating a guy and he told me he was also going on loads of dates with other women, I probably would just end it there. And not to like condemn them or anything like that. Like you do you, but it's just not what I'd want to do. So that's probably how I'd approach dating, just exactly how I did when I was single. And I also didn't, although I knew I wanted to get married and I guess you could say I dated to marry, I also wasn't looking for marriage because I was quite young. So I think it was a nice way to approach it. It was like no pressure. And I honestly just kind of rolled into the marriage. I'm not saying do that, but I met Keith. He was a great guy. I liked him. There were no red flags. And he green flagged me all the way to the altar. And I was like, oh, I'm married. How do you maintain so many friendships? I don't. I don't maintain so many friendships. I think I'm definitely blessed to I do have a big community. I've got friends and family and stuff like that. But in terms of maintaining friendships, I could probably count on two hands how many relationships I actually maintain. I think it's good to sort of understand categories as well. I do have a lot of friends, but there are a few that I sort of check in with one-on-one and build that sort of relationship one-on-one. And the rest are kind of like wider community, but still close friends, if that makes sense. For example, I'm close with my cousins, but we don't really talk one-on-one. We have group chats and then we meet up every so often. I have male friends, but again, we don't really talk one-on-one. It's like by extension, maybe they're Keith's friends and they're married to my friends, and then just naturally we will hang out and we will spend time together. But these are not all individual friendships that I'm maintaining. So I think it's important to be able to categorize those. And and then there's acquaintances and people like that. But I do think that maintaining friendships is also a community effort, which leads me nicely into the next question. Tips on fostering a community. I think to foster a good community, you need two things. You need intentionality, and you need to be okay with being inconvenienced. I'm also very, very, very blessed because I can't take credit for the community that I have. For example, my family, we're really, really close. But if I think about my generation, we're almost reaping the benefits of the intentionality of our parents and that generation. So our parents' generation were very, very intentional. They came to this country, they fostered a tight-knit community, and they sewed into that community. And so because they sewed into that community, we all grew up together, we spent so much time with each other, and we're kind of reaping the benefits of their own sacrifices. And now we've acknowledged that, okay, if we want to keep this up, we are going to have to foster that community. And when they're no longer here, we're going to have to foster that in our kids and make sure that continues. And as for the rest of the community, it's essentially everybody everybody, I think, really wants community. Everybody wants to feel a part of something. And so don't be afraid to be the leader that fosters it. Yes, nowadays it takes flipping months and months to book a group holiday or a group trip or whatever, but be the initiator. And it might get disheartening, but trust me, people want it. And so if you don't have that community, but you have the people, be the one to foster that community. And somebody asked me, any tips on building a Christian community? Because they're moving to the UK. Church. That's the easiest way. A Christian community basically is a church. A church is a Christian community. And so find a church, find one that preaches the gospel, that preaches Jesus Christ, that preaches from the Bible, and that's a good place to start. That's the only answer I have is church. How do you plan your video content from idea to execution? So my ideas come from everywhere. Social media, articles, newsletters, just live conversations I'm having. And then when I say video essays, I literally mean video essays. I will most times, write a whole essay, and that is my script. So I use Notion. I have a Notion template that I can't remember if Keith made it or he tweaked it, and essentially it has everything. It has title ideas, it has thumbnail ideas, it has a page for research, a first draft, second draft, third draft, final script, and essentially I will just go over and over and over and over until I have a final script. That's the long part. The easiest part, honestly, is filming, because I'll have the script right in front of me. I'll try to remember what I want to say. I'll look, I'll stop, I'll read, I'll speak to you guys. And then the editing, the scripting and the editing is the longest part. And I just try to be really, when I'm editing it and when whoever's editing it, we try to be really intentional about the editing. Like, we want to take you on a journey. So the music choices are very intentional. What kind of vibe am I trying to convey in this section of the video? Is it lighthearted? Is it deep? Is it inquisitive? Is it investigative? These are kind of things we think about when it comes to the music, when it comes to the pacing and everything like that. And then I put it out and I hope that you guys like it. Tips for new YouTubers. I think a tip that I would give to a new YouTuber now, given that it's no longer the early days of YouTube, it's becoming more saturated, not overly saturated, there's still room, but a tip that I would give is pursue excellence. Don't be half-hearted, basically. Whatever you plan to do on YouTube, do it with a mindset of excellence. Research other people who are doing it great. Just because you have 10 subscribers and someone has 1 million subscribers, you can absolutely take inspo from them. See the people who are doing it well and break down why they're doing it well. Yeah, that would be my biggest tip. And then I would say learn your platform. If you're starting out YouTube, whether or not you want it to be a full-time job or not, treat it like a job. Treat it like a job that you do research into, that you get insights into. So for example, learn about thumbnails. There's nothing worse than making an amazing video but nobody clicks on it, and the thumbnail is essentially like your book cover. You want people to come and click on it. Learn about SEO. What are you titling your video? How is it going to be found? Learn how to script and how to edit for retention. Don't just, sit and talk and put it up and expect people to stay. People have short attention spans, and this is a long form platform. So how are you going to keep people engaged? Are you going to cut out all the ums, the pauses? Are you going to make your video pace in such a way that there's not even a second for them to click off? These are the kind of things you need to be thinking about. There's so much more I could say on that, but those are the things that I'd focus on right now. Vlogs, will they be back? Yes, the vlogs are going to be back. However, I'm thinking of moving them away from this channel. I don't know if you know this, but Keith and I have a joint channel. We don't really post on it much, but it's called the Afadis, and it's kind of like where we post things that don't necessarily fit into the category of my content and his content, and things that we might do together. So there's a couple of vlogs on there, and so we're kind of thinking of using that as a space for our own individual things as well. And so the vlogs might be moving. Let me know what you think about that, but they might be moving, and then I'll keep this channel for what it currently is, which is the video essays. But I've got some new ideas up my sleeve for the new year. So that's where all of this will live. Are you happy and fulfilled with the life you are living so far? Good question. Yes, I'm happy and I'm fulfilled with the life that I'm living. However, one thing I'm not quite as happy about, and one thing I want to change, is I want my default emotion to be joy. And at the moment, I feel like it's not. I feel like my mood is sometimes giving Debbie Downer, especially in the comfort of my own home. And there's not really a reason for that, because I have a good life. I really believe I have a good life. I have good people around me, good family. Like, I'm really, really blessed. And so there's no reason why my default emotion, when nothing's happening, nothing's gone wrong, there's no reason why my default emotion isn't joy. And so that's kind of like a prayer of mine, is that. And it kind of links in with the whole creating the life that you want. I want to be happy and joyful, because I've got so many reasons to be happy and joyful. Okay, there are some questions that don't require long answers, so we're gonna do a quick fire round. Are you ready? What is your country of origin? Well, I was born in England, but my mum is Tanzanian and my dad was Nigerian. If you want more details than that, my tribe, Tanzania, I'm Chaga. Nigeria, I'm Igbo. What's your favorite cuisine? East African, specifically Tanzanian, West African, and East Asian. Those are my favorite cuisines. Skincare routine. Okay, real quick, listen carefully. My skincare routine is as follows. I'll double cleanse. Currently, I'm cleansing with a cleansing balm from Elemis, and then my second cleanse is CeraVe. And then I will use a toner. I'll use Paula's Choice. And then I will use Sunday Riley UFO, followed by Ren Overnight Glow. That's it. However, I will say that my skin has never really given me problems or issues. And so I can't say that if I didn't have a skincare routine, that my skin would be all over the gaff. So take it with a pinch of salt. And that's kind of why I don't really do skincare content, because I haven't transformed my skin per se. I also drink a lot of water, and that's just because I drink a lot of water. I've done that my whole life, so I can't tell you whether that's transformed my skin or not, but I drink a lot of water. Please, could you share your makeup routine? I'll do you one better than that. I'll link below the person whose makeup routine I stole. I watched a video by Uche Notori. If you don't know Uche, oh my gosh, her makeup is on point. And I watched a couple of videos by her. I basically bought all the stuff that she mentioned in her video, and that's been how I've been doing my makeup this year. What are your fitness goals? My fitness goals are to be strong and to be sexy. I'll be honest, that is it. I want to be strong. I want to be able to do pull-ups. I want to be able to run a mile without wheezing. I want to be able to walk up the stairs without coughing. And I want to be sexy. And when I say sexy, I just mean, I'd love it if I didn't care about that, but I'm being real with you right now. I do care about that. And I want to be, and that's my fitness goal. How do you wait on God for vision and direction, but yet feel like time is flying by? You remind yourself again and again and again and again that He is literally the author of time. There's no such thing as late, taking too long, too early, when if He's in control and He controls time, He is the creator of time. Yeah. Well, that is all we have time for today, folks. I hope you had fun. This was nice. This was cozy. Guys, it's midnight, by the way. It really is nighttime. This is really a sleepover. And I really hope you enjoyed that. I am actually prepping my first ever YouTube live. I want to go live in the quiet period between Christmas and New Year's. Check out my community tab. There will be updates on there soon. But yeah, I'm excited to go live with you guys. We're going to be talking about things that we can leave in 2023, and I want some of your input. And so I think it'll be really fun. It'll be really nice for us to actually interact. That'll be amazing. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you want more Q&As, let me know, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.